Hello, my friends, and I have made a commitment to every day stream all about data science and my journey to become better at data science. And I am new to the streaming software, and much like many softwares, we have all sorts of technical difficulties. So, although I had committed myself to starting these at 12:30 Eastern today, it's been about 45 minutes with my OBS streaming software. It kept crashing and it's just not working properly. So I've had all sorts of different issues along the way, from video issues, sound issues, just tech issues, which is one of the major reasons why I have not promoted that I am doing this at all. I'm very under the radar just so I can work out all of my technical issues, and with a great commitment to be able to start on time and be tech issue free. But every day better, and we learn, and so I'm seeing kind of what the problems are and how I can make them better and fix them in the future. And every day new problems that I did not anticipate emerge. That said, let us turn our attention to the Python class that we're working on. This is Google's Python class. It's based on a 2-day internal class that they held. They recorded, they created articles and exercises that they have shared through a Creative Commons license. So I've been going, every day I've been going through a set of this. I'm learning this myself as I also share it with you. And I did learn that I needed to figure out the best interpreter to use. And so that's another thing I've been kind of working on in the background. They recommend a few. I had some issues with one of them that they recommended. And the other one I just kind of found kind of flimsy from, I just want to see what other things are out there. So I'm also looking at PyCharm, which is a paid one, but free for students. I am a graduate student, so I'm going to look at that one because I definitely want to continue going through this until I'm just going to turn our attention to the video for today, which is about 45 minutes. Now this is day 2 of their 2-day intensive, and this is part 1. So this is the morning session for the second day of this Python intensive that again is being presented by Google, and the topic is regular expressions. So we're going to go over to this video, get it started,
so this morning I'm going
go
to
full screen.
regular expressions a little bit, in particular regular expressions and Python. You may or may not know regular expressions beforehand, that's okay. And I'm not going to show you all of regular expressions. I'm going to show you like just enough for us to get some useful stuff done. But regular expressions are a very powerful combination with Python. There's a nice integration there for that. Also, the exercises later today will, of course, have little elements which are solved nicely with Python regular expressions. Just as a regular expressions is sort of a good news, bad news situation. Regular expressions are very, I use the word powerful, but I also like to use the word very dense. Like if you sort of measured the amount of thought and cups of coffee that get poured into like per character, like regular expressions are like the most dense language possible. You could puzzle for hours over like one line of text trying to get like all the up hats and backticks and whatever. We're not going to get into that scary of an area, but we're going to sort of touch into a little bit of that power. So, one word of warning, when messing with regular expressions, I try to move a little slowly. Like they're very powerful, they're a little tricky, so I'm going to try to be careful. And for today's discussion, I'm going to show you just sort of basic stuff. And if you're extremely familiar with regular expressions, well, just bear with me for a little bit. We're not going to do this for too long. And obviously, really, I'm going to emphasize Python. That's the bad news. The good news is also on all the exercises we're going to do later today, in case I forget to mention, if there's a regular expression component, at the very end, printed in little teeny print, I put what the regular expression solution is. So it's kind of like you can sort of flip to the back and get the answer if you get if you're struggling with that part of it. It's really good. It is a Python class, so I don't want you to block on regular expressions. All right. So with that introduction, I'm going to start talking about how these things work. But first, I have to tell you a joke, which we'll do later. What do you call a pig with 3 eyes? Pig. All right. Now that'll become the necessity of that will become clear in a little bit. So let me fire up the interpreter here. So regular expressions in Python are supported by a module called RE. I'm just going to import that. And I'm going to do a lot of stuff here in the interpreter. I'm going to sort of build this up. So the basic idea with regular expressions is they're a way of searching for a pattern inside of a larger text. So very much like search in Microsoft Word, where you have the little pattern you're looking for, and it's going to look over this huge text and find the first instance of that pattern. But it's this whole language where the patterns can be very popular. So the way this works in Python, the simplest way, is there's a function inside of RE called search. And I'll sort of spec this out. It's going to work basically this way, where the first argument to search is the pattern, which I'm going to talk about a lot. The second argument is just kind of whatever text I want to search. And what it returns is actually not a Boolean, not text, but a match object. So I'll write this as match. And then the match object will indicate, it'll show us a bunch of things about the found text. So let me do an example. So for the text, I'll use our punchline. We'll say, it's called pig. All right, and let's say for the pattern, we're looking for, and we'll just sort of start talking about patterns here. Maybe I'll just look for IIG. This is just the simplest possible case. So if I run it, now it returns this match object. So if I just type match, I mean, it's not really going to print, but it'll say, well, that's that's some kind of Python object. So it turns out for the first 20 minutes this morning, the only thing you need to know about match is that it has this, it responds to this method called group. If you call group on it, it shows you, here's what the matching text was. So this is our first example of a regular expression, and the simplest case in a regular expression is like the IIG here, is that a character like I or G or something like that matches itself. So the lowercase I matches the lowercase I. Now I'm going to build up the vocabulary to have a lot more comfort. And that pattern just doesn't appear in there. So if I run that, and then I look at the match object, it's none. Now the interpreter none just prints as nothing, like it's just not there. So if I were to try and say, oh, match.group, very common error, it's not going to work. Right? Because match doesn't point to an object that has a group behavior, it just match points to nothing. So the absolutely standard way to use re.search is, I'll sort of do an interpreter. First you do re.search, and then the next line is something like if match, like if the match is there, then we found it, we can look at the group. Otherwise, it's not there. Now what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to write, I'm going to def a little find function just here in the interpreter. I'm going to do so many regular expression searches today, I just want to encapsulate that behavior. So what I'm going to show you here is sort of the prototypical use of re.search, and then I'll just use it for half an hour. So I'm going to say, I'm just going to call this thing find, and I'll take a pattern and some text. This is a little weird, I'm doing this in the interpreter, but this works. So I'm going to type a colon, and I hit return, and now the interpreter is saying, okay, well, what's the next line? And so I'll say, space, I'll say if match. Now, I'm relying on the fact that, I talked briefly about this yesterday, the rules for true and false. Now, there's a bunch of things that kind of count as false. 0 counts as false, the empty string counts as false. It happens that the value none also counts as false. So what this if statement is sort of saying is like, yeah, if that match is not none, essentially. If it's there, if the substitute. So if match is there, I'm going to say print match dot group. I'll put the pen again, 2 spaces. I'll say otherwise. I want to say what happens. So essentially, yeah, not found. Right, and those are the 2 cases. Oops. The question is, do you always need the dot group? I'm going to always use it today. In reality, the match object has, you can read the docs for it. It has, what character position did it start, where, all sorts of kind of other stuff about the match you might want to know. It's sort of composite in there. All right, so I'm going to hit return. All right, so now I've defined my find function. So now I can sort of use this for, I'll use it for my earlier example. So now if I say find on that, I get not found. And if I say IG, why didn't that work? I didn't what? Oh, I didn't do the maximum function. Oh, gosh, darn it. Yeah, you're right. Alright. Alright, here. I'll just do it really quickly. So there's def, and then I'll say match. if match colon, well, okay, everyone's going to know this code by heart. If match print match dot group.
I'm going to pause this because I am, again, as I'm still learning this, I'm not liking the sound and I don't know what's happening there. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to our OBS studio and see if maybe it's because I closed the mic auxiliary, if that's why it's not picking up sound from the computer. I'm trying to not have it double sound, but I also want it to be like understandable. So we're going to try this again. Let's see if the sound is improved there.
Else, colon, print, not found. Okay, so now, what do we say? This time for sure. Excellent, okay. So now I just want to do, I'm going to build up the vocabulary of regular code. So, the simplest way, rule number one, is that simple characters just match themselves. Rule number two is that, I'm actually going to, special characters. I made a little table up here. The dot. Very special. Dot matches any character using anything except the dot. So I could have said, well, I'm looking for, let's say, any three characters and then a G. That's the pattern I'm looking for. And so in this case, that's going to form a G. You can get a little bit of a sense of like how this is more powerful than just regular text software. So the another rule that's going on here is so for example, if I were to say dot 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 G, X, whatever, it's not going to cause that. Or maybe I'll do the way I did before. Maybe I'll put that X. So if I say dot dot GX, that's not done. There's a little asymmetry here, where in order to succeed, all of the pattern must match. So in this case, I've got 4 characters or whatever. I can't just say like, oh, well, 3 out of 4, whatever. 100% of the pattern has to be kind of assumed and matched. But that's not true about the text, right? In all of my examples, I'm not matching the whole text. I can use a little bit of it at the end, at the start, or whatever. So that is a fundamental asymmetry. The other thing that's going to happen here is that the search is going to go left to right, and it's satisfied as soon as it finds a solution. So we can make up a case where there's maybe multiple solutions. Say for example, I'm looking for dot dot G, and then I hear like, and then I'll make this like, oh, here's a much better solution. What's going to happen is, finds all the things it's supposed to, and it's smart. It understands. It'll backtrack. So, for example, what if I said, well, I'm looking for dot dot G, and then I insist that there's an S, and then I'll go fix this one. So I'll have an S here. So you can imagine, so that succeeds. So you can imagine it like it maybe sort of tries to make this one work, and it doesn't work, and so then I say, okay, well that didn't work, and it'll keep going. So the other thing, so it is left to right. So find the first one. Okay, yeah, so the question is, why didn't I make the first one? So the trick here is I added an S to the end of the pattern. If you really look at the pattern, that says any character, GS. And the problem is, it can... this one? One more, this one. That one succeeded. Oh, why didn't it find that? Okay, yeah, so what it does is it solution, it's like, okay, I'm done. Where it just doesn't play anymore. Yeah, question. Yes. Okay, excellent question. Yeah, so if you were actually looking for period character, so like let's say
Okay, so I brought my headset over so I could kind of hear it on my phone, and the audio just sounds awful, 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 and I cannot figure out what is the right audio to be just playing straight off my computer without picking up other sounds and without getting double or triple sound. So I'm having some major just audio issues with streaming and just playing a video off my computer. It technically should not be this hard, but it is, and I'm figuring it out. So I can see right now it's pulling in audio even at this moment from 3 different sources. So I just took it down to 1. So I'm still really frustrated with OBS. I know it's the most popular streaming service, and it's free. I don't mind paying for it if it works. So I need to spend some time just figuring out what's going to work, what makes sense, because I am just literally wringing my hands being like, this is so painful, and it's not working. Like I can't really share this with any measure until at such time as I can really get it figured out. So I do apologize, but like I said, I'm here learning. I will continue to be learning until I get it totally sorted out. But I feel like I'm finally getting the video pieces. I'm knowing where to pull things from. I'm making less kind of mistakes, but I'm really struggling right now with just how to get the audio sources all sorted so it knows which audio it's going from, and I'm not getting all this sort of like crazy echoiness. It should be really clean and crisp when I'm playing a video, that all you're hearing is the video and no sort of additional sounds, and that when I want to come back to talk to you, I could easily switch it back over. So I'm learning. It is what it is. I mean, that's the whole point of this learning adventure, is that we get better. And so that's my commitment to you, is to get better. But I'm rounding out the top of the hour, so I'm going to go ahead of when I was supposed to start. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up for today and see if I can't troubleshoot some more of this stuff so I can clean it up for it the next time I go live. Again, I thank you for your patience. I thank all my subs. I thank everybody for just hanging in there and letting me figure this all out. And you probably didn't even make it this far because the sound is just so incredibly awful. And I don't know how to fix that just yet. So I'm going to play around a little bit until I get it sorted, and I look forward to seeing you all next time. Thank you. Okay, so I'm still here because I need to be live to play around with this and figure out what is going on and how. I'm dropping things. What is going on and how do I fix it? So we have a couple different audio inputs, but the only audio input right now I want nothing extraneous, and I just want the computer audio. Let's see if I can figure this out. So there's 3 audios right now. 1, 2, 3. I go over to our video, play it.
Yeah, I don't know. There's a dot there. What you write is C, and you can always put a backslash in, and that inhibits the specialness of a character. So I can look for C dot P, I can look for C dot backslash dot L there. Now I'm going to introduce a slight extra syntax here, which Python has, which is where it's a little troubling. Like the backslash, it can be interpreted at different levels. Like maybe Python or like in Java, Python, it might get taken out by the language. So now get into it, Steve. I'm going to say Python has an option called a raw string, where you put a lowercase r to the left of the leading quote. And what the lowercase r means, it says, do not do any special processing with backslashes. Whenever I type, just send it through absolutely raw and uninterpreted. This feature, I mean, it's a little bit obscure, but it happens to be very useful for writing. Similar to the \W, there's \D matches a digit. So, for example, if I say cat, and I'll say like colon 1, 2, 3. So dot is an excellent question. The question is, what's the difference between dot and \W? The dot just means any character. Like it could be a space, a colon, anything. The \W matches a character so long as it looks like a word character, like A through Z, 0 through 9, underline. No, so if this was a Unicode string, the word it's smarter about being. There is a basic notion of an alphabetic character versus percentage character. Yeah.
0 through 9 is that true? The word character.
Yeah, word character includes the digits 0 through 9. So I mean, it's what it's a little bit like is usernames, right? Blah 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 1 2 3. The username type. And that'll show up in a later thing. Okay, so digit is a little bit similar. Where's my cat example? Here we go. So if I were looking for, have fly, colon 1 2 3. So I could look for. Actually, here I'll just look for. I'm just looking for 3 digits in a row. I can write that as. Oops, I'm going to put the R in. So that pulls out now it happens, so you can see there's sort of these different regular expression codes, \W, \D, they kind of represent sort of connotations. I'm not going to show you all of them, but I'm showing you the ones that are the most useful, and let's kind of show up in the products we're going to do later. Alright, let's say, last one I'm going to show here is white space. So suppose I'm looking for like this pattern. It's like, well, I want some digits, and they're separated by spaces. So the simplest way
Okay, so I still have to figure this out because it's still catching like me coughing. It's not just clean straight off of the computer. It might be capturing computer sound, but there's just, definitely need to figure out how to get the best audio from playing a video on my computer. Still seems like that's going to be work in progress. And then, let's test this. So now I have both the what's called mic auxiliary, and I have the video capture device doing the audio. Now if I switch it, and it's just the video capture device, so yeah, basically, it pulls in multiple audios, and then I just need to know which is the best one for me speaking, and which is going to be the best one for me wanting to play a video from the computer and share that. So, work in progress, need to figure that out. In the meantime, I wish you all a wonderful day, and I